They actually released this bonus clip on Twitter last night, poking fun at DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's past puppy killing scandal. She and ICE used the show as a recruitment push on social media, but it was fun until it wasn't.
They want to be called evil. The thing that actually gets under their skin is being laughed at.
Southpark just went nuclear on Kristi Noem, roasting her with a brutal new clip that dragged her 1990s puppy shooting scandal back into the spotlight and mocked her melting Botox face. Noem is furious, boiling over in public meltdowns. But Southpark, unfazed, keeps exposing the ugly reality she can't escape.
Okay, Southpark is taking no prisoners in its new season, and despite backlash from Trump administration officials, they are unfazed.
Southpark has been around for decades, and just when everyone thinks it might slow down or run out of steam, it finds a new victim. They've already torched Trump, they've cooked Charlie Kirk, and now they've gone after Kristi Noem, who apparently thought she could survive a Southpark roast. Bad idea.
Southpark is on a generational run right now. They had Trump, they did Charlie Kirk, and now they're doing a feminist DHS ICE agent. They apparently absolutely cooked her. I haven't seen any of the footage.
Southpark doesn't just roast you, it buries you under layers of humiliation, sarcasm, and meme fuel that lives forever. Noem, who likes to parade around as some tough, no-nonsense feminist DHS ICE agent, got thrown into the blender, and when she came out the other side, she was nothing but a running gag. And instead of laughing it off like a smart politician would, she did the one thing you should never do when Southpark comes for you. She got furious.
It never ends, but it's so lazy to just constantly make fun of women for how they look. Only the liberals and the extremists do that. If they wanted to criticize my job, go ahead and do that, but clearly they can't. They just...
Dude, tell me you can't take a joke without telling me you can't take a joke.
Her reaction was priceless. She went on about how Southpark was lazy and petty for mocking her Botox melting face and her Ice Barbie persona. And you know what? That's the funniest part, because Southpark has mocked everyone's looks for 25 years. They've mocked Trump's orange skin, they've mocked Cartman's obesity, they've mocked literally every president since Clinton.
The #1 stream show. So people are watching this. And that is something the White House, which tried to dismiss the show as irrelevant and saying no one watched it, which of course is factually inaccurate, they don't want to hear it. Brian Stelter.
But suddenly, when it's Kristi Noem's turn, she decides the whole thing is sexist and beneath her. The hypocrisy is laughable. The irony is she thinks this defense makes her look strong, but it makes her look even weaker, like she can't handle being part of the same joke every politician eventually becomes. While Charlie Kirk and J.D. Vance actually laughed at their own spoofs, even bragged about making it, Noem turned into the poster child for what not to do.
So about me, I'd feel like I'd won. Y'all see how Charlie Kirk reacted? Bro, he was like happy about it. This chick is so booty.
She became bitter, defensive, and predictably whiny, which is exactly what fuels Southpark's fire. And here's the kicker. Southpark isn't fading away into irrelevance like she wants people to believe. It's actually the #1 stream show in the United States in 2025. #1. So when the White House tried to dismiss it by saying no one even watches anymore, that was factually false. The stats themselves were the punchline. And Noem, she's not just losing a political debate here. She's losing a roast battle to cartoon 4th graders with shotguns for punchlines. Let that sink in.
I actually was a little surprised that was her reaction, because she's tough. I mean, she's taken criticism forever, and I don't actually look at it as a woman issue. I just look at it as they're just making fun of everybody. I mean,
but Noem, out of all the things they sort of accused her of in the way that they're running ICE, she actually picked up on how they depicted her physically, sort of showing her face melting and all this stuff. And that.
Now, let's talk about the bonus clip. Because Southpark didn't just roast Kristi Noem once, they doubled down. They actually released this savage clip on Twitter, dragging up the infamous 1990s puppy shooting scandal that she has spent her entire career trying to bury. And instead of just referencing it in passing, they went for the throat.
Vice President J.D. Vance took a slightly different approach. Instead of being the butt of the joke, sharing his Southpark moment, saying, "I finally made it."
They animated Kristi Noem standing in front of ICE recruits and lecturing them with the line, "Sometimes doing what's important means shooting your dog in the face." That is absolutely brutal. It's one thing when a late-night host cracks a cheap joke about your scandal. It's another thing when Southpark immortalizes it in animation, forever making your name synonymous with blasting your puppy. No PR team in the world can fix that.
What we saw in this Paramount Skydance transaction was the company capitulated in a very cowardly manner to the demands of this administration.
And let's not forget the irony here. Kristi Noem once used South Park memes herself for IC recruitment, trying to look edgy and cool to younger audiences. She literally leaned on South Park's clout for her own benefit, but when the spotlight turned on her, when she became the butt of the joke instead of the one laughing along, suddenly she was furious. That's the problem. She thought she could control the roast, but nobody controls South Park.
Paramount recently canceled big-name Trump critic Stephen Colbert's show. So what about South Park? Well, today I asked the company's new CEO, David Ellison, if South Park's scathing Trump criticism is a problem for the company. Ellison indicated, no, it's not. He praised the show's creators. He told me he's been a fan of the show for a decade.
That's why they're untouchable. And her meltdown over the Botox gag, where they showed her animated face literally melting, only made everything worse. She thought she was shutting them down by calling it lazy. Instead, she amplified it. She turned a gag into a headline. And now every news clip about Kristi Noem has the words melting face attached to it. Congratulations, Governor. You played yourself.
On this administration, it feels like once these guys kind of landed their contract and they felt safe enough to not be sued, they're saying whatever they want.
Meanwhile, ICE itself is in freefall. The agency is so desperate for recruits that it's offering $50,000 signing bonuses and $60,000 in student loan repayment to try to lure 18-year-olds into joining. That's not a serious job offer. That's basically a bribe wrapped in a uniform. And yet South Park turned even that into a running joke. The very agency Kristi Noem tied herself to for credibility is being turned into a meme factory by the same cartoon she used to promote it. You can't make this up.
And that's why Trump is going after Colbert. That's why ICE and Kristi Noem and South Park seems like such a sort of high-stakes feud, precisely because they hate
and for
the
me,
humor.
But while the jokes fly, there's a whole other soap opera going on behind the curtain. Paramount, the network behind South Park, just merged with Skydance in a massive deal finalized in 2025. And it wasn't clean. That merger was linked to a $16 million FCC settlement that many saw as a quiet payoff to grease the wheels under Trump-era regulators. You can dress it up however you want, but when billions are on the line, $16 million is just pocket change to keep the government off your back.
And Paramount just cut a deal with Trump. The $16 million legal settlement was widely seen as a payoff in exchange for the Trump FCC approving Paramount's merger with Skydance, though Paramount denied any connection. The merger took effect this morning.
Enter David Ellison, the new CEO of Paramount, who had a choice: muzzle South Park to avoid political fallout or double down and protect it, and he went all in. He backed Parker and Stone openly, calling them equal opportunity offenders, which is code for we don't care who gets mad, they make us money. And he's not wrong. Ellison knows South Park is highly profitable. He literally described it as a cash-printing chaos machine. He's basically betting that every outrage, every Kristi Noem meltdown, every J.D. Vance meme equals more subscribers and more profit.
There is one big difference between Stephen Colbert and South Park. The Late Show was losing money for years, while South Park is, in Ellison's words, highly profitable and a huge hit.
The contrast is obvious. Stephen Colbert's late-night show was canceled for weak ratings, even though he tried to carry the anti-Trump torch. Meanwhile, South Park thrives because outrage equals subscriptions. You can't cancel a chaos machine. Every time Kristi Noem screams sexism, every time Trump officials cry foul, clips go viral, people sign up for streaming, and Paramount rakes in cash. That's not just comedy, it's business. And the business model is built on humiliation.
They couldn't care less. And in fairness, regardless of whether you like Trump or dislike Trump, one of the things that I love about South Park is that they take no prisoners. They whack the woke, they're now having a crack, and anyone who, of course, has seen the Book of Mormon would know that's their kind of humor.
Which brings us back to Kristi Noem. South Park has always survived by weaponizing outrage. That's their formula. Laughter is authoritarian kryptonite. You can ban books, regulate oil, or shut down media outlets, but you can't stop people from laughing at you. And that's what destroys Kristi Noem. Her refusal to laugh turned her into the joke. Instead of brushing it off like J.D. Vance, she cemented herself as Puppy Killer Barbie in internet lore. That's her new title. Forget governor, forget DHS secretary, she's Puppy Killer Barbie, and that's forever.
And I think what you're seeing with this administration, sort of top to bottom, is the thing that they are having the hardest time facing criticism-wise is being laughed at.
The stats make it even worse. Assaults on ICE agents are up 830%, yet South Park's satire makes them look even weaker in the eyes of Gen Z. The agency can't recruit without dangling $50,000 bonuses and $60,000 in loan forgiveness, and the generation they're chasing sees them as clowns thanks to a cartoon. That's how deep the damage runs.
And so, I think they're talking about the absurdities of what we've been seeing, and that's what I was thinking about. Earlier we were talking about, what does this all mean? And I think that it draws attention to something that's a little absurd. Like I've said on this program, and I will say it again, there's real peoples out there that are living with lots of anxiety, and if they were just going and locking up bad people.
The bigger picture is that Trump world can't control this. They can censor critics, cancel shows, and call in favors with networks, but they can't stop South Park. They can't stop laughter. They can't stop the fact that a cartoon with paper cutout characters just stripped away their armor and left them exposed, and Kristi Noem is the perfect example of why they fail. She thought she could out-tough South Park, but she ended up becoming the punchline.
But what I hear in South Park and what I see in podcasting manosphere land is they're not talking about ICE in a positive way.
Closing this out, let's just be honest. Kristi Noem thought she was the cowgirl who could take down anyone. She built an entire persona around toughness, loyalty, and grit. And yet, she got wrecked by a bunch of cartoon kids armed with nothing but sarcasm and shotguns for punchlines. She didn't just lose the argument, she lost the entire war. South Park didn't just roast her, they branded her, and now the world knows her as Ice Barbie with a melted face and a history of shooting puppies. That's the legacy, and there's no coming back from it. Hit that subscribe button because Kristi Noem's meltdown is just the beginning, and you don't want to miss the next South Park roast.